Moon in the 8th house, into the depths. Welcome to Moon in the 8th house in Synastry. Of all the moon overlays, this is one of the most complex and intense. The 8th house governs transformation, shared resources, sexuality, psychological depth, the unconscious, and the territory of the self that is most carefully guarded. The parts that carry the most vulnerability, the most fear, and ultimately, the most potential for profound change. When someone's moon falls in this house, the emotional connection enters a territory that is categorically different from most other overlays. This is not a placement of comfort or easy familiarity. It is a placement of depth and intensity, an emotional encounter that has the power to transform both people and that demands, in return, a quality of honesty and self-awareness that few relationships actually require. The moon person is instinctively drawn toward the house person's depths, not toward what they present, but toward what they conceal, what is unresolved, what has been wounded, what is carried in shadow. This is not a conscious decision. The moon operates through instinct, and the instinct here is oriented toward the underneath. The moon person seems to sense the territory beneath the surface, and they are drawn to it. For the house person, this can be a deeply unusual experience. Most relationships operate largely at the level of the presented self. We share what we have decided to share. We maintain control over what is known about us. The moon person in the 8th house disrupts this, not through interrogation, but through a quality of emotional presence that simply sees more than the house person is used to being seen. The house person may feel that their inner life is oddly visible, that things they have never spoken aloud are somehow already known. This can be disturbing. It can also be the most profound relief. Much of what the 8th house holds has been kept in the dark precisely because it was too much, too frightening, too complex to bring into ordinary daylight. When someone's moon falls here, they create, not deliberately, but through their emotional nature, a space in which some of this material can surface. And that surfacing, while not always comfortable, is often exactly what healing requires. The quality of emotional experience in this overlay tends toward intensity. Feelings here are rarely moderate. There is often an absorbing, consuming quality. Both people find themselves thinking about the other with unusual depth, and the feelings involved resist easy categorization or management. There is also a significant sexual dimension. The 8th house governs the kind of intimacy that involves genuine vulnerability and the dissolution of defenses. The moon's emotional openness in this territory creates conditions for physical intimacy that carries unusual depth and meaning. To the challenges, power dynamics are a real consideration. The moon person, through their attunement to the house person's depths, may hold a certain power simply by virtue of seeing so clearly. The house person, through the intensity of feeling they evoke in the moon person, holds a corresponding power over the moon person's emotional state. Neither is inherently problematic, but both require awareness. Emotional manipulation, often unintentional, is a risk in this overlay. Both people may find themselves using emotional history or knowledge of each other's vulnerabilities in ways that are not fully conscious. The antidote is directness, naming what is happening, even when it is uncomfortable, rather than allowing the darker currents to operate unexamined. Dependency is another challenge. The intensity of the bond can create a deep, sometimes difficult to disentangle pull. Both people need to maintain, with deliberateness, a sense of their own separate psychological ground. Moon in the 8th house synastry is not for the faint-hearted, and it would be dishonest to suggest otherwise, but for those willing to meet its demands, with honesty and awareness, it offers the possibility of a connection that is genuinely transformative. That cracks something open that needed to be cracked open. There are overlays that are more comfortable than this one. There are very few that go as deep.
Thank you for listening. Next, we explore Moon in the 9th house.